What's in a bottle of Michter's is such a great question. Michter's is a long story. The legacy goes back to a little Pennsylvania distillery by John Shenk, a Swiss Mennonite farmer. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania Michter's failed and it went bankrupt, so we spent the $245 and became the owner of Michter's. We just had a name. We had no whiskey, we had no packaging, nothing. And to be the world's most admired whiskey once and then twice and even a third time is something that's just very, very meaningful to our entire team. It's been a long journey.
So the story of Michter's. Michter's is a very old brand. It started in Schaefferstown, Pennsylvania. It was started there by a gentleman, John Shenk, taking his excess rye grain and making it into spirits. He later sold to a gentleman, Abraham Bomberger. The distillery continued on. It closed during U.S. Prohibition. And in the 50s, it was picked up by a gentleman, Lou Foreman. And Lou Foreman was responsible for actually renaming the brand after his two sons, who were named Michael and Peter. And it was the joining of their two names that made the name Michter's.
Unfortunately, Pennsylvania Michter's, like some other, good whiskey companies, failed and it went bankrupt in 1989. I was actually familiar with all the history because my dad, Tony, had been the Michter's distributor in New York City. For a little company like us, maybe the little bit of rye that I could sell, would help us keep the lights on. We actually became owner of the brand for $245.
And we got nothing. No distillery, no barrels, no recipes. We've been on a long journey to resurrect this brand. One of the very first strategic decisions was to relocate the brand to Kentucky from Pennsylvania because there's so many rich resources here in Kentucky.
When the distillers, heard that we were looking to buy barrels of 10-year plus bourbon and 10-year plus rye, they were thrilled to just offload the stuff. We were sort of like a chef that couldn't afford his own restaurant yet, doing a pop-up in somebody else's kitchen. By 2011, we had the financial resources, had our own distillery. That's when we bought Michter's Shively. By 2015, we were totally self-sufficient. We started very modestly. We acquired it for $245. I remember, our 10-year bourbon and 10-year rye, and the first time that we sold 53 packs nationally, that's 150 bottles in the entire United States. We were so excited we threw a party in the office.
So it's been a long journey. We started barreling our own distillate in August of 2015. I think it's a real testament to the discipline of our team. When you have people who have genuine care and passion for what they're doing, you actually can create something really special.
Fermentation looks like it's going very well.
Kentucky bourbon's great because we don't all do it the same way.
Every step of the process can impact the profile and quality of the whiskey. Here at Michter's, we use corn, rye, and malted barley. We receive it as whole grain, so once it's in the silo, the next step is we have to mill that whole grain. We went with, elected to go with cage mills. They're gentler during the process of milling it. It's not creating the intense heat that can come with a hammer mill. All of our whiskeys are made of the sour mash process. We don't add liquid enzymes, we use the naturally enzymes provided by the malted barley. Once that mash is in the fermenter, we will then inoculate it with yeast. On average, we ferment for 3 to 5 days depending on our production schedule. Our distillation system is 100% copper. There's over 11,000 pounds of copper in the system. We use a continuous column still to doubler pot still. Our first distillation will occur in the continuous column still. It's 46 foot tall, 32 inches in diameter. It was handcrafted by Vendome, which is a local company here in Louisville. The beer will come across the tray. It fills up with a layer of beer, overflows, goes down the downcomer, back across, and repeat. But as the steam is coming up through, and the steam being the heat source, is allowing those alcohols and different compounds to reach their boiling points, that vapor then continues to travel up through the still. As the vapor exits the top of the still, we will condense it down the very first time. The distillate that is condensed down, we call low wine, will be introduced into our doubler pot still for the second distillation, which helps refine that distillate flavor profile.
Every producer has their own history and heritage and techniques for their ways of making whiskey. Michter's has 6 production techniques. So the first is we're all single barrel and small batch. There's actually no legal definition for small batch. Our tanks are only the size of the equivalent of 20 full barrels. We want to create something that is consistent and repeatable in its quality. The second is that we naturally season and air dry all of our wood for at least 18 months. The seasoning and the air drying process is not just about physically drying the wood to be able to make the barrel. It's about really creating the opportunity to change the chemistry of the barrel. Everybody knows charring the barrel, where the barrel physically goes up in flame, but toasting is a different art form. Different temperatures for different amounts of time unlock different compounds that ultimately translate to beautiful flavors. One of the most special things that we do at Michter's is the entry of our whiskey into the barrel at 103 entry proof. We are adding more water up front. That water is a powerful hydrolyzer. It's breaking down beautiful wood sugars. It's breaking down compounds that are more soluble in water than they are in alcohol. That's a huge catalyst for lot of beautiful barrel chemistry to develop. It is the most expensive thing that we do at Michter's, but it's also arguably one of the things that creates the most rich, flavorful, easy drinking whiskey. Kentucky is brilliant for aging whiskey because we have all these seasonal changes. However, the winters are somewhat dry and cold, so we don't get as much movement of the whiskey moving in and out of the capillaries of the wood. So what we do is we encourage that to happen in the winter through what we call a heat cycle. We'll heat up the environment inside the warehouse, so when it heats up, the pressure builds inside the barrel and forces the whiskey into the capillaries of the wood. Once it begins to cool down, that whiskey starts flowing back towards the center of the barrel, pulling all the goodness of the barrel with it. For every year that we heat cycle, we feel like we get an extra 6 months of maturing quality on that product. Once we're ready for bottling, whiskey will go through a custom chill filtration process. We want to really accentuate every whiskey's best characteristics by customizing the process based on the chemistry of that product.
Here at the bar at Fort Nelson, it's not only about making great cocktails. The city is so enriched with bourbon history, so it gives us an opportunity to help educate our guests. And when they come here, we want for them to leave feeling that they've had the best experience.
Hey guys, my name's Dallas White at the bar at Fort Nelson. I'm the head bartender here, and today we're going to walk through a couple of cocktails. First is the Fort Nelson Crusta. It's named for the building that we actually operate in. The Crusta was a very popular drink at the same time that this building was being built. So we're going to start by taking a Nick and Nora glass. We're going to rim the edge with some sugar. Then we're going to peel an entire horse's neck from this lemon. The aroma of the lemon being right in your nose as you're drinking it really enhances the experience. And to build the cocktail, we're going to start with a couple of dashes of Creole bitters. Then we'll add 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice, 1/4 ounce of Demerara sugar syrup, 1/4 ounce of honey, 1/4 ounce of yellow chartreuse. Finally, 1.5 ounces of Michter's US 1 Kentucky Straight Bourbon. So next we're gonna make the jam pack together. This cocktail is on our Modern Twist menu. We just released it earlier this spring. It starts with a rocks glass and a nice large piece of ice in it. We're gonna mist that glass with strawberry infused absinthe. To build this cocktail, we're gonna start with 6 dashes of Creole bitters. And then we're gonna add 2¼ ounces of Michter's US 1 Kentucky Straight Rye. In this cocktail, you can kind of control your experience with the dilution. So as you're stirring, I usually like to get it down to a nice temperature, but you can stop a little bit earlier than others if you want more of a rye experience in the first few sips. We're gonna go with a lemon peel expressed over the top. And then 1 dash of black pepper tincture. Leave y'all with something special. We're gonna showcase one of our highballs. It's the cherry on top. This drink has been doing very well for us lately. It just came out in the spring. We love highballs here because it's really refreshing. It's a nice lighter drink. It doesn't have to be as strong. You can enjoy more of them for a longer period of time. We're gonna start off by adding 1/4 ounce of cherry hearing. And then we'll add 2 ounces of Michter's US 1 Kentucky Straight Rye to the glass. Make sure that our ice cube has nice clean edges so that it doesn't mess with our visuals. We're just gonna give it a slight stir down so that when we add our bubbles, the drink itself is already cold, and that'll help keep it nice and effervescent for longer. Finally, we're gonna add our house-made cherry soda. So this soda is made from a clarified cherry puree that we add sugar to make into a syrup, lime juice, and then citrus tonic as the base, and then we force carbonate it with CO2. Now to finish this drink off, we're gonna add a cherry to sit on top. To make sure it's true to its name, please come see us at the bar at Fort Nelson. We'd love to make you this drink. Cheers, you all.
US 1 bourbon. US 1 bourbon is the one that I drink most myself. And we're very, very proud of it. It is rich, it is flavorful, you get great caramel, you get a little bit of oat and some nice vanilla. It gives you that Kentucky hug. It doesn't give you a burn, it gives you a warm hug.
Michter's US 1 rye is a Kentucky style rye. We stay closer to 51% rye in the recipe, and then we balance with corn and malted barley when we build out the recipe. So you get this beautiful baking spice traveling down this beautiful caramel river as it moves across your palate. Just super smooth, gorgeous finish.
Michter's Sour Mash is a really interesting whiskey to me. It begins really nice, like a rich, nice, sweet bourbon, but then it dries up with a little bit of rice spice at the end. It's a really interesting whiskey.
Then there's the unblended American whiskey, a beautiful marriage between whiskey that's been aged in new toasted and charred barrels and whiskey that's been aged in our used bourbon barrels. Beautiful sweetness associated with it, all year round, gorgeous drinker.
Celebration. Our production team takes great pride in it. They actually spend over a year working on the blend. We've had over 30-year-old whiskey in each celebration so far as part of the blend. It's just a really elegant whiskey, and while each edition of it has been different, and we want them each one to be different, what they have in common is they're all extraordinary, and they really are like a flavor journey. Up front, you notice one thing, and then maybe you notice creme brulee mid-palate. It changes in the glass like a really fine wine. I think it's just a cascade of different flavors, orange peel and vanilla and caramel and creme brulee. I mean, it's just extraordinary. I don't know if pride is the right word. I think it's more humbled by the support that we've had from so many people. So much work by so many people has gone into making Kentucky Michter's what is Kentucky Michter's today.
I've traveled a lot around the world. One of the most impactful things to me is when somebody comes up to you and says, you're responsible for one of the most spectacular moments in my life. I'll never be able to explain that to someone, but that's why I do it. The impact that you can have through creating a beautiful product is something really special.
The goal that our team has is to produce the greatest American whiskey, and we're trying really hard to do that. We have a lot of people who seem to like it. I think what we want to be known for more than anything is just quality.